William Shatner just dropped a bomb on Starfleet Academy. All of the criticism, all of the attempts by Robert Picardo, who plays the Doctor, and the like, to go out and say, Star Trek's always been woke. This is what it's supposed to be. Trying to gaslight fans into accepting this nonsensical slop, which is crazy. I had somebody who's a friend watching it this morning just being like, finally catching up and just messaging me constantly about this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. And I'm like, yep, that's the level of writing that they have here. This is something where they've made something that's explicitly not for Star Trek fans. They're trying to do Dawson's Creek 90210 in space, Saved by the Bell in space, whatever you want to call it. These formats actually have like early 2000s or late 90s teen shows trying to transplant it here, hoping that Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I guess, are going to watch this, which doesn't make any sense because who watched those shows? It was Gen Y and, Gen X, right? But hey, oh well, it doesn't make sense regardless of how you try to, brain scramble this. You have to be an insane person to think Starfleet Academy is a good idea from any sort of business or demographic perspective. But a big controversy stirred up because of who's criticizing it. And as I've told you in recent videos, they're trying to make this a political cause so that they can try to get the left to try to come in and watch this at this point, which is what their intention was all along, because they're putting in very heavy-handed political messaging into it, wokeism, as we like to call it, or DEI, or social justice, whatever you want to call it. This is what they're doing. I hear it's really going to ramp up in episode 4 and offend a lot of people. And so naturally, they go to the tactic that the alt-right is review bombing this, like to try to deflect criticism. So it is a tactic that they plan from day one. Obviously, it never works. They tried it with the Acolyte. They tried it with Captain Marvel. We've talked about that before. Now, a lot of this has been amplified because of who's actually responded on this. Elon Musk actually just made fun of this and actually posited why David Ellison didn't fix this or scrap it along the way. Now, what I'm told is that, of course, through the merger with Skydance and David Ellison taking over, it was approved by the FCC, and part of the condition of that was actually to remove a lot of this stuff from Star Trek. That's why you don't see it in Strange New Worlds. They actually kept that back and edited out a lot of what they planned to put forward in order to appease the FCC and the like. Now, this flew in the face of that, and this kept going, went under the radar. Apparently, Alex Kurtzman just went full bore ahead as an act of resist, and that's what he was attempting to do with Starfleet Academy. So we can expect that it's going to get even worse. And there is apparently an all-hands-on-deck meeting going on this week with Kurtzman and company because the FCC is furious about it. That's where we're at with it. David Ellison didn't know, I guess, that this was going on, or it was too far into production for them to pull it back. I don't know what the reasoning is that this even saw the light of day as an error. I mean, it probably would have been better just to shelve it and never air it, but it is what it is. This is where it is now, and we are now seeing the fruits of what these people want Star Trek to be, not what Star Trek should be. Now, on top of this, White House senior advisor Stephen Miller actually put forth a plan to, quote, save Star Trek. And that's crazy just seeing that by itself. But you could tell people at the top levels of government, as they always have, are interested in watching Star Trek. By the way, I mean, this goes back to the 70s. Like, Gerald Ford actually changed the name of a space shuttle to Enterprise because of a big petition that Star Trek fans put in, if you guys didn't know that. And they brought in science fiction writers Jerry Pournelle and Larry Niven, who wrote an episode of the animated series, to actually commemorate that instance. Like, this is politics and Star Trek have always kind of been entwined in that level. Now, the difference is Gerald Ford was a Republican who, like, they didn't want to just tell him F you and tell them to go to hell. They were trying to actually make something that appealed to everybody back then. They're not doing that now. It's a very different thing. And William Shatner actually has responded and kind of confirmed this. Now, this is really funny because, of course, when Stephen Miller said stuff, the cast of Star Trek, Tim Russ, one of the Strange New Worlds writers, and of course Robert Picardo went ballistic because of that, and being he doesn't understand Star Trek and what it's all about. But William Shatner just shut them all down, and it's hilarious. I'm loving this. So let's get into this news today. Please hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things Star Trek, and I appreciate William Shatner for being there. He is, of course, the best of the cast and crew, and that's why he's William Shatner. That's why he's a living legend. Now, I'm actually, I posted a thing as a joke about a week ago that I was going to rewrite and make a Space Fleet Academy book. And a lot of people just like really responded and were like, do it, do it, do it, do it. So I'm actually doing that now. I'm a science fiction writer if you're new to the channel. And this is where my sci-fi world starts. It's called The Stars Entwined, and it is a beautiful, beautiful epic that follows a war that's going on, very similar to Deep Space Nine, Babylon 5. You'll love this if you loved those shows. This is in the description below. Check it out. There's ebook, print, and audio available for you. Now, my Space Fleet Academy is not going to take place in this universe. I actually came up with a full universe that's pretty brutal with one of my buddies. Our thought process started with this because if you think about like Star Trek, as much as they're like, oh, love everybody, diversity and all that, they kind of lie about it to everybody. And their whole like mission is like, we're going to convert you to the Federation. You're going to join our Federation. You will join our Federation. And they actually do this in Starfleet Academy. It's pretty fascist, actually, the way that they do it. So we're just going to lean into that when we make ours, but that's going to be another story. Let's get into this news. So this is what happened before. Stephen Miller made this comment, and we've covered this on the channel. Tragic, it's not too late for Paramount Plus to save the franchise. Step 1, reconcile with William Shatner and give him total creative control. And, of course, you could see Bill Wolkoff, gosh, that's a rough name for being a modern Star Trek writer. And he's the guy who wrote the musical episode, guys. You can blame him. It says, arguably the most vile human on the planet is taking time away from facilitating shooting, beating, blinding, and kidnapping a populace to trash Star Trek for reasons that are nakedly racist, misogynist, and intolerant, which means you should watch and support Star Trek. You can see how fuming this is. Now, Robert Picardo, the Doctor, the hologram, actually reposted this, of course, attacking people. And that's what I said. This is not about including everybody, about building a better humanity for everybody, or about that. They're about hating half the country. That's really what this is about. These are actually the bigots who are opposed to infinite diversity and infinite combinations and want everything to be one way. They're cookie cutter, Marxist, LGBTQ, whatever the hell the thing of the week is what you need to support at full times, or you don't understand Star Trek. That's how they treat everybody, like you're stupid, right? And so it's very interesting to look at this and just see how nakedly angry like one of the writers is, how Robert Picardo will get in on that, how then Tim Russ, who played Tuvok on Voyager, also started just ranting about Stephen Miller and crying about the fact that he tweeted this. Very, very anti-Star Trek and anti-bringing everybody together. I mean, if you just don't want half the country to watch your show, is what I told Robert Picardo, who said that was not true, but sure seems like it. Now, William Shatner seems to agree. And he actually responded to this in a classy William Shatner manner, as he always does. And this is pretty great. So what he said is, I'm on the same page as you, Stephen Miller. Wow. Now, what a slap in the face to these Voyager and modern Star Trek people who are like, he's not welcome here, right? It's like, oh, I'm on the same page as you. Woof. Yes, I guess Stephen Miller does understand Star Trek. Sorry, guys. He says the fact that they have not cured hyperopia by the 32nd century is an abysmal oversight for the writers. And he's actually criticizing the writing and how stupid it is, right? And that's something, again, Star Trek back in the day was all about intelligence. It was all about very smart science fiction writing. They hired the best and the brightest science fiction writers. People like me out there. I'm, to my own horn here. I've got some great science fiction and brought them in to do this sort of work. Like, now who are they hiring, right? Also, Paramount Plus needs to up the budget because I'm sure that a well-oiled organization like Starfleet in the distant, we've got to probably continue this here. Here we go. Future could afford more than a pair of glasses, at least for this hyper-opic bridge crew. Do they pass the glasses around while piloting the ship? Shame on the line producers. That's what you meant, right? I'm ready to assume command of the series. Call me. Wow. Pretty funny stuff. Really entertaining. And Stephen Miller replied to this, of course, as well, as it goes back through this. And my gosh, William Shatner just blew out everybody. I got to find the Stephen Miller quote here as he replied, because, of course, everybody got in on this once William Shatner started posting it. Well, maybe we have to go to Stephen Miller's feed on this. But gosh, that just pretty much blew everything out of the water. William Shatner's like, you know what? Stephen Miller's a smart guy, doing smart things, and I'm on board with him. And this is great. Here he is. Paramount screwed up royally when they decided to kill off Captain Kirk in Star Trek Generations 100%. William Shatner disagreed strenuously, but was a team player and outacted everyone in the film. It was fun. It's not too late for Paramount to make amends with Shatner and save the franchise. Do it. Great stuff. And I said, this was a massive problem. They did fix this in the books. I'm glad Shatner and company fixed it. So they could have made this into the movie, which I highlighted the return here. Elon Musk even chimed in, said true. And of course, got some crazy memes going on with Starfleet Academy as well. So this is a big deal because William Shatner's chiming in saying this stuff shouldn't be this woke. It shouldn't be this divisive. That's what this tweet really embodies right here. And you know what? People like Stephen Miller are welcome. You can't just like tell half the country to go F themselves and then act like you're being some sort of like diverse, inclusive show. It's really hypocritical. And that's the main problem with their entire messaging. It doesn't work because it is hypocritical. It's my way or the highway, but we're diverse and inclusive. It's like, wait a minute. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And from that, if that's your overarching theme, if that's your overarching plan for the entire series, then, of course, all the details don't make any sense there. Of course, we have a race that was from the original series episode where there were only 2 people left and there was no more left, and yet for some reason they're in the 31st century at Starfleet Academy. They're doing things like putting things in the background that you remember, but they don't make sense in the context of where it is in the story. And it's like, why would they do this? All it does is agitate fans further, and that seems to be the entire point of the show. Well, there's a new trailer out, guys, for this episode on Thursday, and it looks like this third episode is going to be even cringier than the second episode. We'll have a review when that comes out, so stay tuned here, my friends. Thanks for being here. Thanks for, of course, watching all things Star Trek. Appreciate you and appreciate your time. I am a sci-fi writer myself, as I mentioned, and if you like my thoughts on things, I think you'll really enjoy my Stars Entwined, and I think anybody can enjoy it. I think left or right, whoever you are, you can enjoy this book, and that's really what the whole point of art is, right? You'd think. Leave a comment down below. Thanks for being here. Read this today. We'll be back.